300 middle school students from Beaufort County took part in the Sea Island Regional Science Fair last week on Parris Island. We were there to see the interaction between students and judges and just how important that interaction was to both parties. In addition to Marines in training at the U.S. Marine Corps Recruit Depot Parris Island, close to 300 students from middle schools across Beaufort County gathered there on Thursday for the Sea Island Regional Science Fair. Harold Hauer is the president of the Sea Island Science Fair Judging Committee. He also oversees the judges for the Beaufort County Science Fair program.
The purpose of the fair is to recognize those kids who have, in their studies, embraced the scientific method. We hope that the students have the ability to think through a hypothesis, collect data that's meaningful, and understand the substance and essence of their data.
The science fair gives these students an opportunity to talk with people outside of the classroom about their projects. Through their interaction with the judges, they're given a different perspective. So, who are these judges who volunteer their time?
Our judges are retirees with careers in science. We have engineers, chemists, doctors, dentists, and basically anyone who's had experience with science and feels comfortable judging with the scientific method.
Walter Ding has been a judge for 18 years. He worked as a chemist for 34 before going into marketing and business.
I enjoy hearing the kids talk about their work. And some kids are so good, it's just unbelievable. If you get a chance to interact with a few of those kids who are really phenomenal, it blows your mind. Blows your mind.
One project was presented by Andrew Lesnett from Bluffton Middle School. Andrew had 36 subjects, 18 females and 18 males, look at a grid for 3 seconds and then describe what they saw.
My hypothesis was that more males would see more movement than females, because there were 2 reasons. One, because I'm a male and I saw movement in it, and 2 was that a long time ago when hunters and gatherers were around, males were meant to look for food, so they probably had the eyesight to see movement more than females, so that may have influenced what we have today.
There are 3 rounds of judging at the fair. The winner of the individual best project is eligible to go in May as an observer to the International Science and Engineering Fair in Pittsburgh. Before the day is even over, Harold Hauer is already looking to the future.
We're always looking for volunteer judges. We're looking for judges who have at least 5 years experience, a degree in the sciences, and are willing to devote a good number of hours at various fairs, feel comfortable talking to students from elementary school through high school, and just want to encourage kids to pursue those topics which may not be high on their list of favorites.
I would recommend anybody, especially if you're retired. I mean, what a great way to put your time to worthwhile use.
In addition to inviting middle school students to participate, the Sea Island Regional Science Fair also has a division for high school students. We're going to learn more about the science fair in just a few minutes from Harold Hauer. As we showed you earlier on the Lowcountry Report, there's great value in the Sea Island Regional Science Fair. We went to the middle school division last Thursday on Parris Island. The judges have a great relationship when they meet with the students and look over their projects. And they felt it was so important that when Beaufort County School District was unable to fund the Sea Island Regional Science Fair this year, they actually formed a nonprofit and did some fundraising on their own so they could continue with it. So why don't we now say congratulations to one of those people involved with those efforts, and that's Harold Hauer. Great to see you on the Lowcountry Report, Harold.
Well, thank you for having me, Alan.
Well, I'll tell you, I was so impressed, not only by the students and their projects, but the background of the judges that you have presiding over the fair is really impressive.
Well, we have, as we discussed earlier, we have judges with quite a few years of experience, professionals in their field, who just volunteer to come out and meet and talk with the kids and learn a few things too.
One judge that I spoke with had been doing it for 18 years, but you also have some new people that have come on board, correct?
Yes, this year we, by virtue of a letter that we submitted to the packet soliciting judges, we had 20 new judges, first-year judges, who came on board and have judged at least 2 fairs to qualify to judge at the regional.
That's fantastic. I wonder if people know really the scope of your reach, though, with students. It doesn't just involve the days of the fair itself, does it?
No, we judge about 25 fairs during the year at the local schools. In fact, I have the numbers right here. We judge about 2,000 middle school and high school fairs and about 863 elementary, not fairs, but projects. And we judge about 863 elementary school projects. When we're at the school, we're in teacher mode. That is, we interview each student and go through the project and try to lead the student to understand what the data says, if the data really does support the hypothesis, if the conclusion is really valid. It's the first time students recognize that data has scatter and that you can't necessarily take an average of your data to come to a conclusion.
Well, it's so great because they're also at the same time seeing individuals that have worked with a background in science. You yourself, you're a chemist, correct?
Yes, I'm a retired analytical chemist.
So I just think it's great for them to have that interaction and see how science itself can be applied in the working or the real world too. And do you ever get into those kinds of conversations at all when you're at the school level at all, as far as maybe encouraging young people to think about it for the future? Or
well, we don't. We hope our presence conveys that. We don't really get into the real world. At the school, we have a twofold issue. One is to support the teaching staff in their mode of teaching the scientific method, that is a hypothesis, data, conclusions. And in fact, one of the things that I emphasize with the students is a scientist must be a teacher. I should be able to repeat your experiment and get exactly the same results that you have. And that leads to a discussion: did you include everything in your material list? Can I follow your procedure and get exactly what you did? Can I get the same color that you got? I think the students are kind of amazed to realize they have that kind of responsibility.
I just think it's great. And in addition to the commitment of doing that at the various school level where, you mentioned how many projects that everyone ends up looking at, the regional fair, I think, for the students, they seem pretty excited when that day finally arrives and it's their chance to really show what they've done. And when I say what they've done, this is work outside of the classroom. This is additional work, correct?
That's right. For many, it starts in the classroom, bringing reports into the teacher who judges progress, but most of the work is done outside the classroom.
And I don't want to get too off topic here, but you and I had discussed this the other day, the fact that some employers these days are having a tough time finding people with math abilities or science abilities. So I would think encouraging people at a young age to kind of grasp those skills would really be of help and hopefully propel them into thinking about that for the future.
That's our goal, and part of the difficulty here in the Lowcountry is we don't have a strong, what I would call, science or technical presence. And so it is worthwhile to be able for students to see that there are people who've made a successful career out of science.
What did you think of the projects that you looked at? And when I ask you this, we're almost out of time, but you also have the high schools involved, and we specifically focused on the middle schools. But were you impressed?
Some of the high school projects were, as Walter Ding said, absolutely incredible. The thought process that went in and the detail that went into some of these really makes you feel good about science with the younger kids. And in fact, some of the middle school kids have done remarkably well also. And of course, what we hope is that kids who do well in the middle school can remain enthused and go on to high school where they have many more pressures, the worry of college, to indulge in science fair. Recognizing, of course, that if you put that you've participated in a regional fair and done well in a regional fair on your resume, colleges will take a second look.
Well, Harold Hauer, I want to thank you for all the time you've put into this. We're
Alan.
lucky to have you and all those judges and the schools involved. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.